I want this year to be your year when it comes to landscaping. I want to give you out some amazing landscaping ideas from 2 front yard designs and 1 backyard design. Let's break them down. Let's give you out some content that you can take with you to make your space look incredible. Let's go to the first one. We're gonna go to Franklin, Indiana. So we got a nice house here, nice ranch style. We've seen this house in many subdivisions. This is a classic, I would say, traditional build. And what I feel is missing from this is just some interest, you know, a little bit of height, a little bit of color, a little bit of texture. So there's 2 main tips that I want to share with you as the design is kind of going off. The first thing is they wanted to keep the decorative rock. They didn't really want to get into the mulch avenue. You got to replace mulch every year. I do like mulch better. It softens the space. Rock, I think, can be a little harsh, but I have a trick up my sleeve for that. So the first thing that I would share is with rock, you're going to need some kind of edging to contain it and separate it from the grass. Okay, but in order to get some mulch in there, and maybe not a lot so you don't have to replace a ton every year, is you create shapes inside the decorative rock beds with mulch. I think this is a cool feature to add interest and now soften this space a little bit. So a way to soften the space and not just have rock everywhere is to create shapes of mulch, and typically you're going to do those around your bigger things. Your ornamental trees, maybe a bigger bush, some kind of feature in the middle, maybe there's a pot or a big boulder, something like that. So we've got some mulch around the dogwoods on one side of the driveway and on the other side. That's your first tip. Second thing is, I feel like everything is kind of flat and barren. There's a lot of brick exposed here. One way that we can create some interest is getting a little height in. So by adding 2 arborvitaes on the opposite sides of those windows, it's kind of anchoring that space, putting some other evergreens in between, hollies, boxwoods, whatever you want in between, and then getting the color out in front of all this, pulling the beds out away from the house. So you got a little bit of mulch, you got some height and color and texture, and all of a sudden this thing went from just kind of a bland, dormant, kind of not that interesting, to bam, all of a sudden you light up the investment, you're good to go. Oh, and before we get into this backyard, I want to introduce myself. My name is Bobby K. I'm a professional landscape designer and general contractor. I've been in the game almost 20 years. I was in the field well over 10 years. I've installed every single kind of project you can think of with these 2 hands. They're finally getting soft, and I just transitioned to more of running projects and designing. And why that matters is I speak from a place of experience. I speak from a place of knowing all the products and challenges and things that you are going to tackle, whether it's a front yard, backyard, any kind of landscaping project. The first thing I want to preach is get a design. It all starts with a design. I literally wear shirts that say this because I know how much it matters. If you don't start with the design, you're going to come up against paying too much, frustration, unfulfilled expectations. The project's just not going to go as well. And what is the crew possibly going to go off? If you're building a house, you wouldn't do that without architectural plans for the foundation layout, where the walls are. So why do we tackle landscaping like this? It's a huge mistake, whether it's a small planting job or a big backyard renovation. Get a design. We'd love to help you. This is what we do. You can go in the links for that. But what I want to show you is a project that we do in St. Louis Hills. It's a part of St. Louis, Missouri, where it is a small backyard, and I want to show you a couple tricks. So this is the Bobby K website. Under projects, I've got lots of different case studies here, but we're going to start on the first one here. And what I want to show you, and I have a YouTube video on this whole thing. If you're interested later, you can go click on this video and get the whole synopsis in detail. But let's start with the befores. So this backyard had an old deck, which we were going to tear off. You can see right here on this picture right here, there's not a lot of space and there's not a lot of flow, but look at all the dead space here. It's just not getting used. It's not presenting any value to have people back here. It's too small, right? So we want to change this up. You start with the design, which is, let me click back out of here, a little overview right here, where we now have a bigger patio, which has these transitions that take you to the garage, to the gate. Now from the deck, we tightened up the deck footprint so we could have a bigger patio. And now you've got this zone here. When you are putting together your wish list, this is what I want you to do. I want you to create zones around your wish list. They wanted to have a place where there was shade. This gets blasted with sun. A place to barbecue. There's an outdoor kitchen under here. Something tranquil to hear and soften the space. We got a water feature right over here. And then of course, another zone where they can have their morning coffee. So you got zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and then all of the landscaping on the outskirts. So here's the design. This is the kind of designs we put together. They come with measurements, lighting, plant options, everything that you would need to know on how to do this. This is how it starts. This is how you get a project that goes really smooth. And then you've got the afters. So let me click in here. Here's the kitchen. Here's the place to dine. The next picture you could see, got the water feature here. It looks just like the design, doesn't it? There's a reason for that. You got the outdoor TV here. So now they can watch, in our state, it's Blues and Cardinals games basically. Sometimes the Chiefs, right? Just depends on what you like. I like the Eagles. Go Saquon. But anyways, that's probably gonna get a lot of hate. I love sports, and so do they. So now they can watch those outside. And then now you can see the different layouts. So the first thing is get your wish list, get your zones put together. The second thing is when you're putting in hardscape areas, think of transitions and think of how you're gonna pitch the water off. Now that we've got this decorative rock border and softened it with some landscaping, all the water's gonna pitch there, so it's not gonna stay on the patio, and it's gonna help water the plants, which is great. So if you want to get into more depth with this specific example, I've got this case study amongst probably 8 or 9 different more case studies here. Boom, 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 boom. These are all different YouTube videos as well as different layouts that you can take with you. Now let's go to our final design. We're going to Moorefield, North Carolina, front yard. All right, so we're gonna dig in here, but if you are enjoying this, please tap the thumbs up. This is a little bit different format. If you've been watching the channel for a while, I am going to change it up a little bit this year. We're definitely gonna be doing these kinds of videos where I'm talking through different designs. I'm gonna be doing more of a vlog style where I take you out and show you a lot of projects on site. Those are gonna be a lot of fun, but I want to show more of just front yards in these kinds of videos. I wanna show backyards as well. So if you enjoyed that last segment where I was breaking it down and showing you that case study, let me know. Okay, final one. There's a couple things I wanna show you here. We've got another very nice house, but it's pretty bland, as we say. You know, it's a little blank. There's not as much color. Things are growing up against the house. You can see on the side. And what I wanted to do was give you 2 tips, 2 easy tips. What I love to do is pull the beds along the side of the house and actually bring them out away from the house. Have everything slapped up against the house, I think, is a huge mistake. There's opportunities when you have a nice sized lawn to bring those beds out. And when you're creating curves, make curves with a purpose. Don't just put out a curve to put out a curve. If you're gonna put a nice curve out on the corner, put a nice tree there. We did European hornbeams here. If you're gonna do another curve, maybe there's one up by that entranceway to the house on that side by the sidewalk, we put a cool boulder here. Curves with purpose for focal points, boulders, pots, cool trees, cool bush, right? The last thing that I wanna share with this design, I wanted to talk about color, because once you have what I like to call your meat and potatoes, your evergreens, your different trees, your boulders, things like that that are gonna look good in the winter, those spring, summer, and fall months are great opportunities for color. So these are when you're gonna put in your perennials, some annuals, bushes that have different color throughout the seasons. Went with some Dusty Miller perennials, some lavender, some Dianthus. These are really nice, pretty pops of color. They're wispy, they're flowy, they create texture. These are the kind of tricks that I want you to take with you when you're doing your front yard, your backyard, whatever kind of project you have. If you're interested in learning more or seeing some case studies, you can go to the website, or you can go see that actual video of that case study of the backyard that we showed. This is Bobby K saying creation is everything, so go out and create. See you on the next video.
Never stop